Welcome to this news lecture. Right now, I want to show you how to quickly use the graph editor to create more variations of the walk cycle. It's not going to take a long time and it's going to be a pretty easy lecture. So in the previous animation, we made the animation cyclic and we made the linear extrapolation for the root bone, which means the character will go on and on forever. Now, what I want to do is, first of all, I'm going to hover over the timeline. Make sure you have your root bone selected. And for this demonstration, I want my character to stay in one place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this tiny little arrow on the timeline. Then click on the summary to expand the summary. And now you're going to see this root motion, right? We have this root motion and then we also have this check mark. If I disable this check mark, then Blender is going to ignore the root bone motion and the character will stay in one place. But if I re-enable the root bone motion, then Blender will consider the root bone motion again. So while I'm working on my animations, I usually use this to quickly disable or enable some of the bone properties. In this case, to demonstrate how to create different types of walk cycles, I'm going to disable this and you can keep this disabled as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand the timeline, then press on Control Tab, and let's go inside the graph editor. Now, let's say I want my character to change its stance and walk confidently. Maybe I will take the body and move it backwards like this. Maybe I will take the torso as well and move it backwards like this. Now, obviously, one way is you can select, for example, the torso and then try to manually move it back on certain keyframes, which you animated before. But that's going to be tedious and it's going to take a long time, a lot of eyeballing, a lot of polishing the keyframes, and you don't have to do that. So an easy way to quickly create more walk cycle variations is, first of all, is by going to the graph editor and by selecting the curves of the bones you want. So now let me start with the pelvis. So let's say I want to lean my pelvis back. So if I lean it back this way, it means it's leaned back in the x-axis. So what I'm going to do now is in the graph editor, I select the pelvis. I have the show only selected and enabled. And now I'm going to expand this menu where I see different axes for the pelvis. So what I need is, as I said, I need the RX, which means I need the X rotation. So I can disable everything by clicking here. Now I'm going to find the X rotation, which is called this one. It has a long name, X quaternion rotation. So now I'm going to click on X. Now I'm going to press on A to select everything, and then press on F to frame select. So if I frame select, if F doesn't work for you, click on numpad period and it's going to do the same thing. So if I zoom in, you can see the line is flat. X doesn't have any curves, doesn't have any rotation. But if I select all of these curves, all of these keyframes, what I can do is zoom out slightly by control middle mouse. And now watch what happens. If I press on G and then Y, I can move it up and down on the Y axis. So now I can only take the X rotation of the pelvis without changing any other keyframes. So I can press on G, Y, and then move it down. And now if I play my animation, the character will be leaned back forever. Obviously, that's a pretty imbalanced pose and that's not realistic, but you can see how I can use the graph editor to quickly change different aspects of a bone. So for example, I didn't have to affect any other location, rotation, or scale of the pelvis. I just took only the x-axis and changed it. Now, similarly, if I want to take the torso, I can grab the torso, make sure to expand all of the curves of the torso, then hide everything else, and then only unhide the X rotation. So I'm going to press on A, press on F to zoom in. Now if I press on G, Y, I can move it up or down. So let's make the character lean even backwards like this. And now I can see we have this weird confident walk of the character by changing only two curves. We only change the X curve here and the X curve here. And that's how you can change different types of rotation. You can play around, you can have a lot of fun with it. You can practice with the graph editor, and that's a great way to create more variations of an animation. So that's pretty much it for this lecture, and I will see you in the next one where we're going to discuss how to use the animation library. I'm going to show you the animation library which I gave you with this course. Since you purchased this course, I gave you the standard animation library as a gift, and in the next lecture we're going to talk all about it and we're going to discuss how to use it in your production. So I will see you there.